Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast. Today, I am joined by our friend Leila Lopez Marks. How you doing today, Leila?
Doing good, Doug. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, yeah, I want to go ahead and throw in a little backstory here. Y'all, I actually had done a podcast with Leila a while back and had it in the bank and was getting ready to put it out. I didn't think to download it ahead of time. So I went to go download it and start editing it to put it up. And I completely lost it. Evidently, there's a time limit on it, and it timed out. And it was a great podcast, and I lost it. Thankfully, Leila is kind-hearted enough. She was completely understanding and was willing to make another one with me. And for that, I want to say thank you, Leila. I greatly appreciate that.
Of course. No problem at all. Yeah. My pleasure.
Oh,
Go ahead.
the kind of behind the scenes stuff that happens. As I said when I made my very first video that I wanted to do this was going to be an adventure because I had no idea what I'm doing. And that was proof of it. I thought, oh, what kind of bonehead move is that I lost a podcast? It was horrible.
And on that bombshell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's all I could think of was like, yep. So,
Well, time to move on.
well, and then it was that, how hard could it be? Well, evidently it's harder than I can do. So.
Yeah. Oh, cock.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there was a few, there was a lot of words being said because I didn't know there was a time limit. And so I thought, hey, it's there, it's sitting there, it'd be fine. And I missed, and the worst thing of it is I missed it by like a day. That was.
Oh. So, like, I think it says that it's available for like 30 days. So you went back on that 31st day.
Yep.
Oh, now that just makes it, oh.
And that, yeah.
Now I just feel bad for you. Oh, that's bad.
It was insult to injury. It was,
Yeah.
It's like when you buy something that has that 30-day warranty, and then whatever you bought breaks on day 31.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, and so I'm not perfect. I screw up a lot. So.
Well, at least for nothing, you're human. So.
Get
That's
that
good.
Get that out the way. So. Anyway, have you ate anything good recently?
Well, speaking of eating, I guess drinking something good, I have actually on this podcast a nice mango smoothie made with fresh mangoes. Well, pretty fresh from Costco. Got them delivered a few days ago. Let them turn a bit more yellow because when they came they were kind of green. They weren't quite nice and soft and juicy yet. So, yeah, and then put them in the blender and made a nice smoothie. So, been eating that. Last weekend, actually, I put some photos up on FoodTribe. The lobster mac and cheese, which I'm sorry, John Coleman and Doug, but big chunks in lobster mac and cheese for me just isn't the way to do it. You gotta have that nice even spread of like mac and then lobster. But so I've had that. And I had the most delicious filet mignon. Absolutely great with a nice béarnaise sauce. It's great. Yeah. So, been eating that.
Oh, I absolutely love lobster, so for me that wasn't a problem. And then of course everybody knows I love everything with cheese. So I'm American. I want cheese with that.
Do you want cheese with that?
Yes, Top Gear reference for some of you who might not know that. But yeah, so when I seen that, I was with John Coleman on that one, going, I don't see the problem. I love lobster. I love cheese. That filet mignon you posted did look really good, though.
That was a proper filet. The other one I posted was at a local place about 10 blocks away from my house. And it's a new place, so And I think from my experience with going to new places, they don't quite have everything figured out yet. They need some time to like figure it out, work out the kinks, and like get everything up and like going smoothly. I think that was a mistake my dad and I made. We went on like after like a few weeks, maybe a month after they had been open, so they hadn't quite had enough time to like work out the kinks and get everything up and going smoothly. So I think that's why that steak didn't quite look like a steak, and the lobster mac and cheese had like chunks of like whole lobster in it. So yeah, but the one I had gloves and proper steak and proper mac and cheese. Yeah.
Is that the one that to me you showed it and it looked like a big meatball is actually what it looked like.
Yes, and I'll find the photo for people that haven't seen the post. But yes, that is exactly the one that looked just like a meatball.
Steak, and I looked at it and I thought, what? That looks like a big meatball to me, I didn't.
Bear with me. I'm trying to find in my photos, but I couldn't find it. I'm gonna go into my FoodTribe and try to find it. So bear with me. But yeah, it was like a big meatball, though. Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, because when you said that, I thought that's not what that looks like at all. Well, as a lot of people know, I don't eat out much anyway. I just rather make it myself as a rule. If I eat out, it's literally, well, actually, I don't eat out. I get takeout. I might grab like a pizza or something like that, some wings. Of course, if you eat pizza, you got to have wings. It's just a combination to do.
Yeah, wings. Love those.
Yep. And that's probably, one of the closest I do. I just home cook everything. That's just the way I prefer it. But I do know when you go into a restaurant that has literally just opened, they often do suffer, I guess, lack for a better term, teething issues. They're still trying to work out all the kinks and bugs in their system, and maybe even just trying to figure out, that food prep and presentation, everything. It's. So I never recommend anybody if a restaurant just opens, don't show up on day one. First of all, that's the worst possible time you can.
Yeah, and from my experience, don't show up on day 30 either. Like wait 2 or 3 months at least, maybe even like 6, because sometimes it can take quite a while for these places to figure out what they're doing. But yeah, anyway, here's the steak. Meatball, as Doug called it, which is pretty accurate. I'll not lie, it's pretty accurate. It is. And the mac and cheese with the most ginormous chunks of like slightly undercooked lobster in it. It was kind of funky.
Undercooked part's worrisome.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to get food poisoning today.
I don't blame you there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. No, thank you.
Yeah, having big chunks of lobster to me isn't a problem, but big chunks of undercooked lobster is a bit of an issue. Yes.
Yeah. So I actually had 2 issues with that mac and cheese: big chunks and undercooked. I was like, no, thank you. And I mean, the drink I had was delicious. It was a non-alcoholic mojito. That was delicious. And the appetizer we got, it was like a meat and cheese plate. I couldn't think of the word. So it was like a charcuterie plate. It was delicious. So I had pretty high expectations of the meal because the appetizer was great, drinks were great. So I thought, okay, maybe they've actually figured out what they're doing. Maybe they've worked out the kinks and they've got everything going smoothly. But nope.
And the sad part is some restaurants never figure it out. They
and then they closed down. Some places actually, those restaurant, literally, I kid you not, I could walk through it. It's like a block and a half away from my house. And when they opened, they were delicious. And you're into hamburgers. They had the best hamburger I've ever had. It had like this awesome. I don't even know what kind of sauce it was. It was just delicious though. I think it was like a kind of like chipotle mayonnaise sauce, something along those lines. It had avocado and tomato. It was just delicious, and it wasn't an American like cuisine place. They just had amazing food though. And a couple of years after they opened up, the guy who was like managing it and taking care of it day to day, he left, and the lady who actually owned the place took over the like managing side, and like she changed the decor, and she like took like, all of the most famous things on the menu. She took off.
Ooh.
So, well, except for the hamburger, she did keep that on, but it's not nearly as good as it used to be.
Mm.
So I think there was some change in staff, and now it's just bad. So there was this pasta dish with olives in it that I used to get. It was delicious. There was some lamb, there was some chicken. It was just a bunch of delicious meals that they just took off the menu. And now it's just a bunch of like baguette sandwiches that are just underwhelming. Excuse my dog if you can hear him in the background. He's probably barking at the mailman or something, as dogs do. But yeah. So even if you think that a restaurant's gotten on close and you think they're like good, sometimes they can take a turn, and then don't go back. Don't go back.
Well, and that happens, and you have the flip side of that too, where sometimes new management takes over, and what was a good restaurant goes downhill very quickly. I have had the opposite happen, where a restaurant is notoriously terrible, and then all of a sudden you see new management, and you go back and you think, oh, now somebody actually fixed this and made it good. And anytime you go past a restaurant and you see under new management banner, you have reason to be concerned. you never know. So I've had that fate happen to a few places I used to like, where it was really good, and then all of a sudden you find out they're under new management or whatever, and you go in and it's not even the same place anymore. And then when you get the food, you think this is terrible. What did you do? Maybe they went with cheaper ingredients and tried to make the same thing but with cheaper stuff, or they tried to put their own personal spin on it somehow and just ruined it. So that's often.
I don't know what this lady was thinking, because who in like the most logical mind is going to say, yes, let me completely screw up my restaurant by taking all the most famous things on the menu, all the most beloved, all the things we make most of our profits on. Let's take all of those off the menu, and then instead put some mediocre, underwhelming baguettes on. Like, come on. Like, I know nothing about owning a restaurant, managing a restaurant, but even I wouldn't do that. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, come on.
Well, that's it. And, with any business, but we'll stick to restaurants, is if you take over said restaurant and it has loyal customers, it makes money, it is always busy because, it's a good place. Don't go in and going, well, I'm going to change everything and make it better. Because why? It's already working. It's already, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Exactly.
Can you make improvements? Yes. But sometimes fiddling with something, you end up making it worse. In the pursuit of making something better, you often ruin it. And I've seen a lot of businesses, not just restaurants, but we'll keep it to that, where they go in and they have loyal customers who are in all the time. They're constantly making money. They're not losing money. And then people say, well, yeah, but I can do it better. And then next thing you know, the whole place is out of business. and just boards on the windows and the doors are chained shut. You think, well, no, you couldn't.
No. Yeah, you came on here with your pompous self and you thought you could do it, but I'm sorry you. That is not how life goes. Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, and that's it. I will say on your post with your Thai food that you posted, I was rather shocked and had a bit of a chuckle when I seen that your Thai iced tea was in a mason jar.
Yeah. It was a big one too. It was like a big one that I haven't seen one that big, but yeah.
Yeah.
They put it in like the biggest mason jar they could find.
And me being the bit redneck that I am, I had to laugh. I was like, that's my kind of place, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what's funny? Quick side story. I've got some friends that live across the street. And well, I'm friends with their kid, and my parents are friends with my friends' parents. Yeah. So well, the families are friends with each other, and they have a whole bunch of mason jars and like old ball jars, and instead of having like glasses for like water, whenever you want some water, you go and you go out to the cabinet, you get a mason jar, and you get some water from the sink and you put it in. So yeah, it's funny that even like in the city, and these people have PhDs, so they're like not your typical um you know out of city folk, but yeah, they have mason jars and
Well,
so
the great thing about a mason jar is you got a lid. So if you're outside, you can put a lid on it. You don't get bugs in it. If you knock it off, something, it don't spill out everywhere. I've been drinking out of mason jars my whole life. I mean, we used to actually make sun tea in jars before everybody became so paranoid of sun tea and thought it was going to kill you and cause cancers and growths and all that. I drink sun tea all my life and I've never had any problems. But yeah, we used to make it in little mason jars. And drinking out of mason jars second nature to me. So,
yeah.
Probably would have mason jars to drink out of here, but we got to collecting glasses from a place we go to. We used to go to every year for our anniversary. We actually broke tradition this year and went someplace different. But we started buying glasses because when we got there, we stayed for a couple of days. So we would buy a glass from the gift shop and then just use those glasses while we were there for our drinks and stuff. And so we'd bring them home and we put them in the cabinet. Well, next thing you know, we had a whole collection of these things. So we just started drinking out of those because we had so many of them and we had them. So why not? And if it wasn't for that, yeah, ours would probably be mason jars, just like I said, because why not?
Why not? I mean, yeah, it's valid. Like they're not doing anything else, so why not put some drink in them and drink out of it? Yeah.
And we have so many of them because of the fact that my wife cans stuff. So we have all kinds of different sizes, half gallons, pints, quarts, half pints, jars because of canning. And, she makes homemade jellies and all preserves and all that. So everything goes into, canning jars anyway. Well, you got gangs of them. You might as well use them. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I seen that, and I thought that's my kind of place. I love that. So.
Yeah, and they make some pretty good Penang chicken too. So it was a good meal. Yeah. Although one thing that I wasn't used to, because I've had Penang chicken from a few different Thai places around the city, and that place is the only place that I've been to that puts like carrots and It's something else I'm forgetting, but they put carrots and some other vegetable. I think some kind of leaf in the Penang chicken, like in the dish. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a typical thing, or I don't know if that's like their own spin on it. Maybe it's like a different like part of Thailand. Maybe it's like northern Thailand or southern Thailand. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting that they put like vegetables and like leaves and stuff in it, like different spices and leaves and stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know, like you said, regional differences can be sometimes, rather huge. My
yeah.
thing I caught was it was a bit soupier than what I've normally seen. So, and there again, I don't know if that is, just their own spin, regional thing, what. So,
Well, I think that the soupy thing, at least from my experience, that's pretty typical. I haven't really had one that wasn't in that kind of broth. So I think, at least from my experience, that's pretty normal. But I don't know, maybe if you went to a different place, you may find it less soupy. But yeah, maybe it's like only one bit of Thailand does that. Yeah, I don't know.
who knows?
Yeah.
So, I know I felt bad for you because that was you ate that right after the noodle challenge, and girl, I was praying for you. I really was. I was like, I hope she's all right.
Well, as the Brits say, I got a stiff upper lip. I just kept going. I'm like, okay, this food is delicious, and I haven't paid for it for nothing, so I'm going to eat it.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
I will say I was proud of you for finishing that. I even got a few messages and stuff about it, and people was even commenting and said, "Hey, she was brave. She finished it at least, or she soldiered on, kind of a thing." And I was like, "Yeah, she did." So there was several people who made comments that they were kind of proud of you for at least soldiering on with it. So.
Yeah, well, I was proud of myself. In the middle there, I thought I wasn't gonna make it through, but yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I think
I was worried.
the yogurt and the big glass of water definitely helps. I wouldn't have been able to do it if I hadn't had both of those, but yeah.
Yeah, I was about midway through. I was starting to worry about you. I thought, oh no, and then I knew you had to go out when the podcast was over to go have dinner, and I thought, don't want to break her when she has to go out, have to cancel your dinner, your dinner date there. What was it? Was your grandpa? You said?
Yeah.
Okay, I hate that. Tell him that I can't make it. I'm sorry.
Can't make it because I'm in hospital with an IV dripping water into me because I've had some incredibly spicy noodles. Yeah.
So
but no, kudos to you and Jane for eating that whole dish without taking one sip of water. Well, I guess in your case, milk. But yeah, kudos to both of you. And I know Jane's not on this podcast, but Jane, if you're listening, kudos. That was incredible to see you eat that whole thing in like 10 minutes without taking a single sip of your drink. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea how long it took us. I know I was shocked I beat her because I know in the first one she beat me. That's where this challenge is going to get interesting because, as I've told you, we're already working on the next one, the third one. Yeah, third one.
Yeah.
And we want to step it up slowly. We don't want to jump to something really stupid, like right away. So we're trying to work and figure out what we can do. And then there again, making sure it's something that is accessible to everybody, because as I said before, it's easy to just say, ooh, grab this pepper. If everybody can't do the same exact thing, then it's pointless.
Yeah.
So we're trying to step it up. We have joked around about, she has sent me some stuff of the world's hottest gummy bear.
Oh God, that sounds awful.
Yeah, I think it would be fun, but that is a drastic jump up, and we're trying to, because I think the 2X noodles rank somewhere in the 8,000 to 9,000 area Scoville units. That's the measurement of heat, how they measure the spice level, heat level, whatever you want to call it. So we're wanting to step it up slowly, and the world's hottest gummy bear is like, I think it's 8 million. So that's a considerable jump up. Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah.
We found these Daibak noodles. They're out of Malaysia, I believe it is. And they're a little over $1 million. And I'm like, we gotta find something lower and work up to that.
Yeah,
'Cause
woke up
otherwise,
to that, and woke up to the gummy bear. You know what I think? Maybe this may not be for the next challenge we do, but I think eventually you should definitely try out that hot potato chip that Jay was talking about. That one potato chip that comes in a package.
yeah.
I
Well,
think you should do that at some point.
well, we want to. We talked about that one. That's another one that come across. Well, Jane went on Amazon, and I got this frantic. You ain't gonna believe this. Those chips are now going for $50 a chip. One chip is $50 now. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. They'll have to.
No,
Either they're
that's
not
too
gonna make
much.
a whole other set or something.
The filet mignon I had in Galveston was not even that expensive. I think it was like 45. Yeah. The filet mignon, I mean, seriously, like, who wants a single chip that could make you end up in the hospital overnight, or a nice, juicy filet with some lovely mac and cheese and a lovely béarnaise sauce? Like, yeah. $50 for one chip is
For a corn chip.
ludicrous. Ludicrous, yeah.
I was upset when they were 15. And I was like, 15, you know how many bags of chips I can buy for $15?
You can buy 15 bags of chips for $15.
And I have ghost pepper. I grew myself, which makes the fairy, or the challenge immediately null and void, because we're avoiding that kind of thing. Because, don't guarantee that anybody else heat levels are going to be the same, because how you grow a pepper determines a lot. But I thought, well, I got ghost peppers. Yeah, it's not a Carolina Reaper, but I guarantee you it's going to be hotter than you're probably really going to want to just take a corn chip and just go crazy on sprinkling it and pop it in your mouth. That's going to be painful on its own.
Yeah.
And I can make a lot of them for $15, much less 50. So
Many poos will shoot out of your anus.
And it's like, I'm sorry for trying, but I'd hate to have to start a GoFundMe account just so I can buy a corn chip.
No, start the GoFundMe to pay for your hospital bills after you eat the corn chip.
That's it. Honest, and John Coleman was laughing at us about that, but we don't know where this is going to end up. I know I have a high tolerance, and obviously Jane does too, and she's confident in her ability to eat spicy food. My terms lost me there. I'm pretty confident in what I can eat. So far, we're the only ones really battling here. Like I said, I was hoping other people would be able to jump in and chase this to the top with us and see. I'm curious to see how Gabriel Santos is going to hold up with it. Being Portugal, I don't know if that'll help from Portuguese, if that'll help him or not. We'll wait and see, I guess, but he's wanting to do the next one. And I told him, I said, well, if you have any ideas of food, make sure it's something we can all get, to make it fair. But yeah, we're going to wait and see. So that eventually, like, it's going to be, like John said, it's just going to be us eating raw peppers and wasabi and all this stuff all at once.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie. I think it was in Cars 2. That whole movie, the Cars movies. I think I won 2. I think they had a third one come out a couple years ago. But I think in the second movies, Cars 2, the tow truck mater, he ate what he thought was pistachio ice cream, but it actually was just plain wasabi. And he took a bite of it and he said, "That pistachio ice cream has churned." Not knowing that it was wasabi. So that is gonna be all of y'all if you just end up with this challenge, just eating like straight up wasabi and like uncooked peppers and stuff. Yeah.
Now, in fairness, I have ate plain wasabi more than once. I absolutely adore the stuff. Now it's not the same category because it doesn't actually have capsaicin in it, which is what makes peppers and things like that hot. Capsaicin is the oil. And wasabi don't have that. It's actually made from a type of horseradish, I guess. I think so. It isn't technically, it takes your breath away. It lights you up very quickly, and that's why it fades just as fast as it hits. Is because there's none of the capsaicin there that is coating everything your mouth and stuff, which is what actually lights you up. But when I get sushi, which is rare, but I do love sushi. I usually am very heavy with wasabi. I've actually been known to eat teaspoons of it at a time. We got it's a little squeeze tube of it, and it's just eat it. Just I love that stuff. I do.
Interesting food stories.
Yeah, there's a little food story for y'all. I actually just eat wasabi.
Yeah.
It's not good on the stomach. A lot of it like that, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
On that, well, in the podcast that I lost, we talked about some different things, and one of them was the nastiest thing you've ever ate. What's one of the nastiest things you've had?
Oh, well, Doug, I'm not going to lie. And all you people watching this lovely podcast, I'm not going to lie to all you people. I've eaten some absolutely disgusting things. I mean, genuinely, revolting. You would not think that anyone would ever put that in their mouth. But I think pretty close to the top has to be, one time I ate a, very, very full handful of assorted flavored jelly beans. And it must have been 15 different flavors. It must have been tutti frutti and orange and black licorice and watermelon and all these flavors. And I think there's one flavor I'm forgetting the name of. It's some kind of marshmallow flavor. I think they had coffee in there too. It was nasty. I put all of them in my mouth at once, and well, let's just say I had to hold my nose in order to swallow that. Because it was absolutely just the worst thing. I love jelly beans, but one thing I have to say, do not ever put a whole handful of mixed flavors in your mouth at the same time, because you will want to puke. It did actually taste like puke. It was awful. Yeah, it was bad. Trying to think. Well, while I think of some other ones, what's something that you've eaten that was nasty, Doug?
Oh goodness, I've ate many things that I thought was repulsive. McDonald's.
I have to agree with you on that. McDonald's, even though salads are just horrible. I mean, come on. How can you mess up a salad? But they do. No offense to John Coleman, but I'm sorry, John. It's awful.
No, I'll offend John Coleman. It's nasty, and I don't know why you eat it. I think his taste bud was rotted away with all the snails he ate. Honestly,
I think he might have been chopped on his head as a child.
Something. Well, it could have been the chickpeas and lentils. I'm not positive, but
could have been.
The nastiest things. My poor grandma tried to get me to eat liver. That is one meat I can't do, y'all.
Kind of liver. Cow or pig?
Cow liver, just beef liver.
Okay.
She was renowned for making fantastic liver. Everybody loved it. Her just plain liver and onions, liver gravy. My grandma grew up really poor and lived her life poor, so that kind of stuff was super common for her, and it always bothered her that I couldn't eat liver of any kind, the meat, the gravy, nothing. And she tried so often to get me to try it. And each time it was like, look, it ended badly last time. Let's not do this again. And it was, oh, baby, I know you're going to love this one, And
And then
I
you
couldn't.
didn't. Yeah.
And I didn't. And it was always such a disappointment. I always felt horrible over it because it just broke her heart that I couldn't eat her liver. And even when she made me the liver gravy, she was like, "It's just the gravy. It's not like you're eating the actual liver. It's a lot more mild." You know, she made it up. She made potatoes for me, the whole bit to eat with it. And I couldn't do it. It was just, there's something absolutely repulsive about that. Um, Outside of that would probably be tofu and that vegan burger I made. That was horrible.
Mm. Now that's a whole different topic. I think we're gonna get onto that in a minute. Um, no, but going back to liver, quick story about that. I haven't actually ever tried it, but I am curious and I would like to at least try a bite of it one day just to see if I like it or not. But because you obviously strongly dislike it, and I've got a coworker at the mechanic shop that I work at that absolutely loves it, and obviously the grandma loves it, and I know people that also like it. I know people that dislike it. So it's a mixed bag. So I'm like, okay, then what's the general census on it? Like, do people generally like it? Like, is it generally accepted as like a good thing to eat? Is it like so? Yesterday, no, sorry, Friday, my coworker, he's from the Dominican, he's from Dominica, and he bought, um, there's this local Dominican, like, grocery and deli place, close to the shop, and he bought, like, what looked like to be, cow liver over, like, a bed of, like, you know, like when you make biryani, like the color that the rice is, it was like that color. It looked just like that, but it had cow liver on it, and he was like, "It's delicious," and I'm like, "Okay." So I got the name of the place from him. I'm gonna go try it one day. But he loves it. He's like, it's delicious. You have to go try it. I'm like, okay. But then I hear your story, and you're like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, huh, okay.
Uh,
Got a
what
man from the Dominican Republic who loves it, and I got a man from Ohio that hates it. So what are we gonna do?
Well, in my experience, either it is something you like and enjoy, or you despise it. And I fell into the later. I can't. I love the smell of it. I ain't gonna lie. Now, when my grandma would fix it, I loved the smell of it, which made it worse because I would literally just stand at the stove and just take it all in, take in big breaths in because it smells amazing, at least when she cooked it. But when you went to eat it, it didn't translate.
Yeah,
It didn't translate.
that's too bad.
First of all, if you don't know anything about liver, it is very irony. It is high in iron. So if you do have an iron deficiency, liver is fantastic for you. Uh, but you can taste it. So when you're eating liver, you literally taste like you're chewing on an iron skillet at the same time. But it tastes like a dirty, rotten iron skillet.
Ugh. Ugh.
So keep that in mind. It is very, very metal tasting. It bleeds through badly. So it's one of those.
Now you make me think again.
I mean,
Huh.
I always tell people, hey, that's my opinion. Always try something. I know there's a lot of things in my life that I look at in great hesitation, but I still will try it. Except crickets, John Coleman, ain't happening. Stop it. Anyway, not even no crickets. Uh, but I usually always at least try to give it everything a day in court and see what happens. Sometimes too. I remember a food memory as a child. My grandpa used to love eating hog brains. And I remember, he would have this container and it just had a literally whole hog brain in it. So it does, there's no mistaking it was a brain. And he'd get out his iron skillet, get a little shallow thing of butter in the bottom of it and some garlic, and he just and this brain would hit the, pan, and he'd just take a spoon and just start smashing it all up, and and it was disturbing to watch. Ain't gonna lie.
I bet, yeah. It's a brain. He's like mashing it up like potatoes.
Especially when you're like 4, or 3,
No,
really
no,
kind
no.
of old.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, it's a brain. It looks like a brain, and I watched him eat it as I grew up. I mean, it was something he enjoyed, and even though it was highly disturbing to watch, even as I got older, it was hard for me to watch him fix it. It really was. There's just something off-putting about it. But you know what? I haven't had it since I was a kid, but I liked it. I did. As long as I didn't watch him fix it. That was the one thing in life that I'd rather not see it cooked. And I knew what it was. I'd seen it cooked, so I already had it in my head. But I gotta say, the old man could make a hog brain that it was eatable. It was nice. So yeah, that was one that is the exact opposite. So I don't think myself. First of all, you can't hardly find them anymore. You used to be able to go to the grocery store and actually buy hog brains. But now I don't know if it's just because of where society's at. Well, won't jump in that pond yet. But anyway, I don't know if they just
let's just jump into that.
that moral problem, because they used to sell them in just little containers with clear lids, so you could see what kind of brain you was getting and stuff. So it sounds weird talking about it now, but you could pick it out, and of course, you're walking through. It's just these little containers of brains, and you get to pick them out. And of course, depending on the size of the pig it came out of, depending on the size of the brain, and you could, like most things, the younger they were, usually the better they were. And now, I don't think I've seen a pig brain in a store for. I'm 40, going on 47. I bet it's been, 30 some years since I've seen one in a store. So I think it's just society finds it too disturbing now, I guess. Yeah. So, but back then it was common. It was everywhere. So it's one of those. But yeah, all the bad stuff I've eaten in my life is rather expensive. I've eaten a lot of bad stuff, mostly because I'm willing to try stuff all the time. So, but if you don't care, I posted a thing on FoodTribe a while back. Of course, I do these podcasts for FoodTribe, for y'all, and I want you all to feel a part of this. So I asked about almost a month ago now, questions that they would want to ask people on here. And I got a few. The reason it took me a month to incorporate these questions that you guys wanted me to ask is because literally we have, Leila probably understands what I'm saying, you bank things, as I put it. So I have podcasts way in advance. That's the reason I lost one 30 days later. You have them in advance, so you always have a reservoir to pull from of them. It's not record it and then post it. It's you record it, you hold on to it, and then you release them in the order of. And so that's why it's taken a month, because I have been going through old recordings and getting them up. And this is a newer one, so now I can get it up. And so, Leila, you get to be the guinea pig for some of these new questions people were wanting to know.
Okay, sounds good. I did see that post, and I saw some of the questions people were putting in the comments, and I was like, these are pretty good questions. So yeah.
Some of them are. Some of them may not be terribly relevant to each person. Yeah. But for the most part, some of them I think are really good. I am not going to try to butcher his entire name. I know it's Yu Ting, and I'm not going to mess with the last part of it. I'm going to, at least for the first time out here, I'll give credit to who asked. because I think, just a way of saying thanks for the question. But anyway, he asked, do you have a guilty pleasure food?
Ooh, okay. Fantastic question. And a lot of people, I see interviews, a lot of people asking, oh, do you have a guilty pleasure of whatever? And, to be honest, I haven't really thought extensively about it, but I think if I were to have to choose a guilty pleasure food, I would say probably either mac and cheese or Lay's sour cream and onion potato chips. Yeah, I think it's one of those two. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll go ahead and throw my answer in on some of these. Honestly, the guilty pleasure one, I think everything I eat is sort of a guilty pleasure. I think that's just where I live. But if I had to pick one, because it is so terribly bad for you, but it is absolutely delicious. We make, okay, Food Tribe, here's another one for y'all. We make our own lard. Yes, I still cook with lard, and we make it homemade. So we literally sweat it down, categorize it. Anyway, when you make lard, you're boiling, or not boiling, but you're sweating out the fat, from fat. And depending on how you cook it and the heat levels, you get what we call snow, which is absolutely pure white lard, which is great for your baking and stuff because there's no actual porkiness to it. It's just a pure, there's no pork flavor to it. It's a much cleaner taste. And then you have the stuff that's not considered snow, which is not quite pure white. It's just an off white. It's like when you get pure cream, it's not really white. It's just a little off. It has that porky flavor, but it's still good for a lot of cooking purposes. So that's kind of like your byproduct, and you get a lot of that. Well, once you get through the stages of lard, you end up with a legit old school crackling. And that's where the fat has been sweat down and cooked to the point it's just literally this hard little chunk of fat. And it's crispy and crunchy. And if it's done right, you actually have to kind of just let it rest in your mouth because you can't bite them immediately. Some of them you can if you pull them early, you can go ahead and chew them. But the good ones, you actually just let them rest in your mouth and let the saliva break them down over time, and then you can eat them. But take those and season them with like some cayenne and just some salt, which is pork fat. It's already kind of salty. But anyway, which doesn't make it any healthier. But yeah, literally, I love some homemade cracklings. I can sit and eat those, which means you're basically just eating pure pork fat.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But there was a saying, pork fat rules. Pork fat is just the bomb. Yeah. You cannot. It's pretty difficult to beat pork fat. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also hold that fat means flavor. So hey, it's delicious. So
yep.
A little reference from Sam the Cooking Guy, if anybody knows who he is. So anyway, moving on. Of course, John Coleman needs to know, what's your favorite cheese?
I saw that. I was scrolling through the comments and I saw his question. I said, that, of course, John asked that. Well, I can begin with my least favorite. I'm not entirely sure my favorite, but my least favorite most definitely is blue cheese. Can't do it. I've tried it many times. I really have tried to like it, and I do want to like it. But I can't. It's too much of a gone off flavor, it's just not, it's not it. But favorite would either have to be goat cheese or cheddar. I do love like a nice aged cheddar. And goat cheese, I love putting that in like a nice salad, put some balsamic over it. Delicious. Yeah, so there you go, John. Least favorite is blue cheese. Most favorite is either goat cheese or cheddar cheese. Nice aged white cheddar. Yeah.
Yeah, nice aged sharp white cheddar is hard to beat. Those are really good.
Yeah.
That is something you share in common with John Coleman because he don't like blue cheese either.
Hey, I found my tribe.
He finds it repulsive. So
That is a good way of putting it. John, you're the man. Yes. Blue cheese is absolutely the worst invention. um, no offense to you blue cheese lovers, but it's just I don't see the appeal.
well, that's where my would fall between Parmesan, actual Parmesan Reggiano.
Hmm.
When you buy it in the wedges, I can
Mm,
just eat an entire wedge of that, no
that
problem.
that is pretty good.
And blue cheese. Adore blue cheese.
So me and John's least favorite is your absolute most favorite.
I can actually buy the blocks of blue cheese and just sit and eat it. Just sit and eat it. I
Oh
love it.
no.
Oh yeah.
You can make me
And
sick of you.
and the bluer it is, the better it is.
Oh
Yeah.
god. Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah.
For the second time consecutively when I'm on Doug's podcast, I almost get sick.
Oh, no, don't do that, please. I'm not even monetized. I don't need that drama. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to make nobody sick here, but I do love blue cheese. Anyway, um, what would be your favorite food?
Favorite food? Hmm. That's difficult for someone like me because I like pretty much every single food except for like cottage cheese and blue cheese. So that's difficult. I may
That is
have to
a
do
hard
like
one.
top three if you don't mind.
Hey,
I think pizza, wings, because you gotta go to classic American standards. Um, yeah, maybe top four. I have to throw in mac and cheese because it's just delicious. I think one other one to kind of have an international flavor would be some kind of like nice Indonesian or like Singaporean dish. Oh, actually, I was thinking of Indonesian noodles, but no, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna say my dad makes absolutely the best Singaporean laksa, which is kind of like a soup dish. Um, it's a broth. It's a spicy broth with fish cakes, shrimp, and noodles, and it is simply to die for. I could just if you made just the broth, I would just like drink it out of a cup. It's so good. So I think
it does sound
to like
amazing. It really does.
show my international, like kind of curious international side, I'll say laksa is also in there. So top four. I know. I like a lot of different foods, but yeah.
Well, that's the problem, for even for me. If somebody says, "Well, what's your favorite food?" and it is hard to not say, a burger because I can make a burger into anything, and I can
Yeah.
make a burger have any flavor I want it to have, aka the shawarma incident. Anyway, but I eat so many different things, and I always have. I've always been a adventurous eater. And for me to narrow it down, I'd have to be like you. I'd probably just have to do a list. Anything meat based, anything really, from steaks to anything really. Probably, I guess I would probably go either a good steak, preferably a ribeye, but any good steak is probably my go-to.
Yeah.
But I love roast chickens and grilled chickens and baked chicken. Any kind of meat really is my thing. I agree. The mac and cheese. I think mac and cheese should be on everybody's list. I really do.
Oh yeah.
If I had to pick international kind of thing, it would probably be ramen. And I mean, not like the ramen we ate, okay? But homemade ramen, legit, it's got boiled eggs and stuff like that in it. legit homemade ramen with homemade broth. I can eat that any day of the week. My now my grandma's dead, but I still refer to it as her. Porcupine meatballs, probably up there. Probably have to be up there. So that's a hard one to nail down. Favorite food, it's like if you can only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? I'd be in trouble. What I'd be.
I would, yeah. I'd definitely be in trouble. I go, can I pick like a top three? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to. I just love too many foods.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's it. I'm that way as well, and I don't know who out there could just say I'm going to live on. Well, yeah, I do.
I know a couple people who could definitely, if someone put a gun to their head and said you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what's it going to be? I think I know two people who would quite easily just pick food and stick with it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So.
That's tough.